Welcome to another demonstration of the Project Management Process Accelerator, PMPA.ai. In today's demonstration, we're going to attempt to demonstrate going from the business value proposition, which describes the product we're trying to build at the BVP level. So this is the product's description, not the project charter itself actually, but the description of what it is we're trying to build. We're going to use our agentic system to break down that product description into a set of epic features and then into a set of user stories. We're going to try and make some user journeys and maybe some other artifacts, and then we're going to export that directly into an MD file. We're going to take that file, we're going to take it over into a lovable.dev application. That lovable.dev application, which is some people call it a vibe coding platform, and then that vibe coding platform is going to make us the application. So let's see if we can get that all done in the matter of minutes or maybe about an hour instead of months, which is what this would usually take in the old days. So here we're going to sign in to the application, and of course we got to put in our one-time passcode here. Oops, put in the wrong user, sorry. There we go. Security is a must. So I'm going to show you on the left-hand side. Oh, I'm dragging this into the screen, so we know that there's no smoke and mirrors here. This is our demo version of Jira, and here we have I'm going to hit refresh, so you see there's no smoke and mirrors. We've got this BVP. This is our business value proposition. So this is at our highest level entity that describes what the product is we're trying to build. And what we're going to build is our Ideation Roundtable.ai. This is our new product site that we're going to build. And what we have here in this entity, description field filled out. So this describes what we're building, and that's it. That's all that's in here right now. So we're going to fill out some of these fields. And if we look at the plan-based view right there, and if we come in here and we hit refresh, we're going to see that there's no children elements. So let's build this guy out. Okay, so I think the first thing we're going to want to do before we generate some of this, I'm just going to make some random choices here. Let's just create some features first. So we're going to go here. We're going to choose 228 was the BVP ID. Hit execute. So we see the webhook returned successful. So that means the backend application service received the request. That's going to load it up into our queue. And our queue now is going to look for resources available. So there's not an infinite amount of AI available just yet. Not enough chips, not enough memory, not enough resources. So we queue it up. And of course, there's some resources almost immediately available. So our AI agent goes into Jira, pulls that ticket out, does some business analysis, and we'll wait to see what the results are. Okay, so it completed here, and I won't read the results in the little green box. I'll just come over here and hit refresh. So it took, again, the hand-typed requirements that I gave it, and it generated 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So user account management, core ideation experience, BRD generation and export, payment processing, application administration, security data management, AI workflow integration. Well, I could go and read every single one of those, but I think I trust it. Maybe I trust it, maybe I don't. Let's just continue. Let's see what happens. So let's go now. I would recommend to all of our users definitely go and review it. Be the human in the loop in the center. And in fact, for those users of the PMPA.ai tool, we do have a human in the loop governance turned on. So before you can really get to creating your user stories, when you run the quality check, it will look to see if those items were created or modified by AI, by the tool, and you will have to go in and review them and put your name on it. But for this demonstration, I've turned that off as a super user, admin, owner, and inventor. I've turned that off just for the luxury of this demonstration. Okay, so here we're going to create user stories. So again, we're going to put in at the BVP level. So that was 228. Now, why would we want to? So again, no AI involvement. That's a false negative there because I've turned it off in the back end. Why would we want to go and include the BVP when we're trying to create user stories? Well, one of the reasons we'd want to do that is because we want to give the agentic systems a full view of what it is we're trying to build. So in the back end, and I can't give away too many secrets here, we do want to give that agent an understanding, big picture, the product we're trying to build at the big picture level. If we had a project charter, if we had the high level technical design document, and then those epics, those features, and then say, hey, understanding the entire big picture, put it through these series. It doesn't just go into one agent. Again, I don't want to give too much of our proprietary system here. Put it through these series of agents. It's a series of agents, and it's a parallel series. If you know what I mean, you know what I mean. And then write up all of these user stories under each one of these epic features. Now, while that's chewing away, let's make sure it's chewing away. So it's doing a lot of work down here. We're going to look at our best practice statements. So the system of the PMPA tool allows you to put in some best practice statements that go into the agentic workflow when you're creating epic features. We didn't look at that before, but these were included. And also they go into when you're creating the user stories. Now, the benefit of this is that there's a set of global best practice statements. So those are put in by your system admin, and those will go in every time your users don't have a choice. And then you can also have user specific. So your individual users can create best practice statements, and then they can choose if they want those to go in when they're creating features, creating user stories. Now, what does this mean? This means you can create best practice statements that are forced into the agentic workflow, and those agents have to consider these when creating features and creating user stories. That's great because then you don't forget them. For example, the first one here, this is an AI synthesized best practice. So you go in and you say, hey, I want to have this best practice. You write it in human English, and maybe your English isn't that great. Maybe you're trying to convey something and it doesn't come off very well. The AI system will go and convert that into more concise language, okay? So it says, this is the AI version of what a human has written, what I wrote, and this is what comes out. It says, if the software includes login functionality, requirements must specify a one-time password, OTP, using a trusted third-party application. Additionally, consider including a backup OTP option via SMS, valid for a single use and requiring additional verification. So that comes from SOC 2 compliance, right? So someone in the system, me in particular here, wrote for our demo platform a SOC 2 compliant best practice, put that in as a global best practice, and every time I generate for this demo, a feature or a user story, it's going to take this into consideration. And when requirements are generated where there's a login functionality as part of the requirement, the AI agentic workflows will have to take that into consideration. If there is no software scope including login functionality, this will be ignored. Now, in the AI LLM world, sometimes this is called like a system prompt. Well, we don't do it like a system prompt, technically speaking, because system prompts can only take so much. We handle this a little differently, and again, part of our secret sauce. All right, let's go down here and see how it's doing. So still running. We had 7 epics, so it's going to take a few minutes. Let's pull over Jira and hit refresh here. Now, we're not going to see in this view in Jira the epics, or user stories, I apologize. So let's go over to the plan view and let's hit refresh. So we're seeing some of the user stories starting here at the bottom. So the AI workflow integration. So we're going to see implement secure workflow integration, integrate with N8N, integrate with N8N. So we're going to be using N8N workflow for doing our workflow integration. So that is correct. That was in the requirements. Security and data management. Let's open this up a little bit. So, oh, look at that. Implement multi-factor authentication with Google Authenticator. So I was just talking to you about our best practices. So there it is. It's coming out in the user story requirements. Encrypt user conversation history and generated outputs at rest. Let me go see. I think I put a best practice in there. Did I have a best practice for? Let's see. Here we go. If the scope includes features related to PII data, so I think it must consider this PII data, then written requirements must include descriptions for data encryption at rest and in transit, include descriptions for minimal encrypted block size. Okay, well, maybe that's in there. Let's see. User story requires implementation of secure communication channels with both internally applications and externally to third parties like N8N Workflow and Stripe. This includes ensuring network traffic including is encrypted, such as HTTPS, TLS. Okay, well, I'm not going to read this all, but it's got a user story statement. As a system, I want all transmitted data. Okay, it's got customer-facing release notes. It's got an end-user persona, guidance to the developer, which in this case is going to be the AI engine that we're going to give it to, guidance to the tester, again, which will be the AI engine we give it to. And yeah, so that's pretty cool. All right, let's look at this. Enforce minimum 10-character password policy. Very cool. Oh, look at this. Global administrator can view login success failure history. So again, that's part of SOC 2 compliance. That's pretty cool. Awesome. All right, let's see. Let's hit the refresh here. See what else has been generated. All right, application administration. Enable assignment of global administrator roles. Secure global administrator login using one-time password. Global administrator configures pricing. So someone's got to configure pricing. Let's take a look at that. Story covers development of administrative interfaces where global administrators can input and save the pricing for generating the business requirements document. As global administrator, I want to set and update the pricing for business requirements document generation so I can manage the application's revenue model. That sounds important if we want to make money on this thing. The global administrator configures pricing for conversation output exports. So we want to be able to export conversations, but we want to put a pricing on that. Global administrator views login success history. Global administrator views login failure history. So again, part of SOC 2 compliance, but also just good to know. Ensures only authorized global administrator to access admin features. So that's pretty cool. Again, let's go back to our workflow here, just see what it's doing. Okay, so still going. So it's gone through another cycle. It's running again. Hit refresh. Okay, so it just finished up that one we were looking at. So there's let's take a moment here to discuss about what should you be passing to your AI engine that you're developing with, whether it be a Claude or a Copilot or an Anthropic engine or whatever the next version, Kimi K. Should you just be handing it the project level description and saying, good luck, build me a house? Should you be handing it the epic feature level descriptions? Build me a house with a bedroom, a bathroom, a two-car garage. That's kind of how I equate it. You know, your BVP, your project level, your epic feature level. Or should you be getting down to the user story level? Build me the house, this many rooms, and then I want the rooms to have these features and dimensions, the drywall to be this thick, so on and so forth. So it's been my experience that the more detail you give it and the more structure you give it, not only the better output that you get, but actually the fewer tokens you burn. In my experience, when you give it the sort of the more higher level, it not only does it take longer, it burns more tokens and it takes longer to fix things. And you usually get a lot more errors that it'll self-correct, it'll do the little boy with his finger up his nose and it iterates through trying to fix things. And that's pretty frustrating because that takes time and that takes energy. And it takes money and tokens, and they don't mind you spending money on tokens, but I don't have infinite amount of tokens. So this is a tool that very inexpensively will take your features, break them down into user stories very quick, put them into Jira for you, break them all out into all of the different fields that you want, so that you can analyze and validate them and run them by your, your product team and have documentation that you've done these things, right? And make sure they're what you want, um, and then load them up one at a time, multiple at a time, all at a time. Beware of your context window, because if you were to give, this to your AI engine all at once, this is too big of a house to give all at once. You may want to give this in smaller bits, because it may blow up the context window. Okay, so let's go over and see how the system's doing. All right, well, it took about 25 minutes to create all of the user stories. So I conveniently edited that out, even though I said we were going to do it live. It was boring even for me. So if you trust AI, you'll trust that it took about 25 minutes to generate all these. So let's go in and take a look at some of them that were created. Let's take a look at payment processing. So as a user, I want to pay for BRD generation without interrupting my ideation roundtable experience. That's important. You don't want to be interrupted. I want to log in securely. As a global admin, I want to configure the pricing. So that seems a little duplicative. I want to integrate to Stripe. I want to pay for the output. Seems a little duplicative again. BRD generation and export. So this seems a little bit about the core functionality. So that's good that it's at the top here of our list. So user initiates generation of the BRD, pays for and receives the BRD. User initiates export of raw conversation history. User pays for and receives exported raw conversation history and outputs. So they initiate and pay. So two separate user stories. Very interesting. User receives clear information on data handling and GDPR. Interesting. I guess that's because we have a GDPR best practice in there. Core ideation roundtable of experts. So this is really about the roundtable of experts. And then user account management. So a little bit about self-registration, multi-factor. All right. So I'd like to add some user journeys in here about the core ideation roundtable experience. So I want to make sure, let's see here. Let's go to end user persona generation. Let's choose our, here we look at our BVP 228. All right. Let's execute the workflow. So this is going to go through and this is going to create, oh, this is end user persona. Okay, that's good. So let's let it run and create some end user persona while it's doing that. Sorry, I didn't mean to run end user persona. I meant end user journeys. Here we go, end user journeys. That'll run in the background. That won't mess us up. Here we go. 228. By the way, you can run multiple at the same time as long as you don't max out the system. Stuff will go into a queue. Here we go. So it's looking for the epic. So I want to do it for 230. So let's put in 230. So this will just do a little bit of check. Here we go. Found 10. Story children's stories. All right. So what this will do is this will take a look at this feature. It'll take a look at all of the user stories in this feature. So let's go take a look at the epic while it's doing that. So core ideation roundtable experience. So it focuses on the functionality of the ideation roundtable. It's going to look at the acceptance criteria and security considerations, GDPR. So there's not a lot of meat here, which is interesting. So if you were to, again, to go back to what do you give to your AI agent that's going to build software, do you really trust it to build you the house with the right rooms and the right size, the right amenities and the right furniture? If you're saying, all right, there's an ideation roundtable experience and this is the amount of information that you give it, because this would be the right size to describe what your feature is. It focuses on the functionality of the Ideation Roundtable application, allowing users to interact with a collection of AI-based experts through a chat. The experts will ask compelling questions about a user's business idea pitch, leading to the generation of feature ideas, value propositions, area of concern, risks, issues, possible mitigations, and users should be able to save and restart their sessions. So that's a good, concise description of a feature, but is that enough to give to the AI engine and be successful? So I think that's why it's important then, why you should have user stories and why those user stories should be concise enough. So let's go in here. See if I can save and restart. That one's not as exciting. Let's see. I can interact with AI experts. Let's take a look at that one. So this story focuses on the core interaction of the Ideation Roundtable. Users will present their business idea, and AI experts will facilitate the process by asking guiding questions. The system will then generate various strategic outputs based on the ongoing conversation. So that's what I would like to give to the AI engine who's developing the software, with acceptance criteria like, given I'm in an active ideation session when provided my business idea pitch, then AI experts engage by asking relevant and compelling questions. That seems very detailed and compelling compared to what's being described at the feature level. So if we're trying to figure out where is the line in the sand, how much granularity we should give, I think it's very obvious. I don't think we're benefiting ourselves to describe, give me a house with 4 rooms. I think we should be saying at the most detail possible. Now, this is not a technical description. This isn't telling you how thick the drywall should be, right? This isn't telling you the molecular nature of the porcelain floor. This is telling you user interaction, right? This is compelling. What should the user be getting for what value? All right. So now let's go take a look at our workflow here. It looks like it's completed. It sent the completion email. All right. So let's refresh our Jira screen here. Is for as many user stories, it will create end user journeys. So let's hit refresh and see what happens here. All right. So we've got end user journeys, new user registration, manage ideation sessions, interacting with AI experts, freemium, user viewing, limited options, purchase and generating. Let's look at this, user purchasing and generating BRD. So very simple. As a user such as a business innovator, entrepreneur, or project stakeholder has completed an ideation session and wants to generate a professional business requirements document from their ideation session. Phases of the journey. After completing an ideation session, the user chooses the option to generate a BRD. The user is presented with the cost for the BRD generation. The user confirms the purchase is directed to a secure payment process within the application. After successful payment, the system generates the comprehensive BRD. The user can then download or access the BRD without leaving the application. Okay, very simple. But when you're speaking to an AI LLM, sometimes you have to be very simple to make sure that it's working correctly. Sometimes I like to say, it's like a 5 or 6 year old. How about GDPR compliant data management? Oh, let me not in that view. That's a little clumsy. All right. The system must adhere to GDPR principles. So a user makes a request to delete their session data. Very important. System processes this request, securely deletes the data. User data is processed transparently. Anonymization or pseudo-anonymization is applied. A user requests to view their data, and the system provides a clear, readable copy. Sounds good. How about, let's see, global administrator reviews login history. Global administrator logs in, accesses a dedicated session. Administrator sees records of both successful and failed login, can see relevant. So here's the thing, right? How many of us in our product development, requirements development career would have written all of these? Who would have had the time to write all these? Here, in just a matter of a few moments, the AI system generated all these. It remembered to generate all these because these were part of our best practices. So you push one button, a few minutes go by, and you answer an email, or I don't know, maybe some robots answering emails these days. You're doing something more productive, more valuable, and it's generating all of these for you. So that's the power of the PMPA tool. But we're not here to talk about all of that right now. We're here to move forward. We want to write some code. So I'm going to do the user journeys for those guys, and we could do user journeys for all of them, but I think the more important ones is where we want to spend the time to give that to the system. So security and data management, I think that would be pretty straightforward. Let's see, AI workflow integration, that's going to be pretty technical in the back end. Payment processing, I know that the Lovable system is very good at payment processing, so I'm going to skip that for now. Self-registration. So let's create for 229, because I know the self-registration is always, kind kind of tricky. So let's make sure I do the right one this time. End user persona, that's where I got stuck last time. End user journey, here we go. So again, we're gonna go 229, 229. Let's try that again, run the quality checks. So yep, so we did the right level. So let's let that run and we'll wait a moment. So, how do we get this out to our AI model? Because I think we're at the point where we're ready to give this to our vibe coding platform. So I'll let that run in the background. Now, if we go back to the PMPA tool here, we've got the Ideation Roundtable. So that's what we're building. We're rebuilding this. I've already built it. It's already in production. My clients, customers are using it today, but I want to build this as a standalone. So that's what we're rebuilding here, but as a standalone application. So you guys can sign up and use it. It's not integrated into Jira. You can have an Ideation Roundtable chat, export that on your own, pay just $1 or $2, get your BRD out of the system. Just single time transaction. You don't have to be involved in any of this, right? Any of the rest of this stuff if you don't want to be. So you take your idea, right? And in this tool, and let's just take a look real quick. So the idea is that the idea. So the idea is that you have this Ideation Roundtable, and you export this BVP, this final project, directly into Jira when you're using the PMPA tool. So that business value proposition, that project, with all of the features and value propositions and risks and issues and concerns, stuff that is going to be the outputs of this discussion with this panel of experts, is going to go straight into Jira. Now, using the Ideation Roundtable standalone tool, you're going to have to copy and paste that into your tool. So you're not using Jira, you are using Jira, you can do it manually, or you're using some other tool, Monday.com or Synergy or Target Process, or there's a million of these tools out there. I've used practically all of them. They all have their pros and cons. This is not the discussion for that, right? But the point is, the PMPA tool allows you to take that BRD and break it down. So let's take this, my idea, right? My BRD, and let's break it down into the features, the user stories. Let me create those end user journeys. And then I'm going to take that and I'm going to give that to my engineering team. And they're going to be able to take that and put it into their magic machine to write code. That's what I want to do. So I'm logged in right now as the product owner, and I can't export requirements. So let's log in as a user that can export requirements. We'll export those requirements, and then we'll take it into lovable.dev. So give me just a moment to log in as another user, and then we'll export those requirements. Okay. Now we're logged in as the super user admin. So some of the navigation has changed if you notice that. And now we have the ability to export the requirements. But before we export the requirements, let me drag the Jira box back over here. And let's take a look at the user journeys for new user, for self-registration, and not so important with the login with MFA, because that should be pretty straightforward. But here's a prospective user wants to create a free account to access the Ideation Roundtable application. So I just wanted to make sure the requirements were straightforward about how someone logs in. So user navigates to the registration page, provides a unique email, strong password, provides explicit consent for data processing, GDPR, very important. User submits the form to create a new account. Confirmation email is sent, very important. Users directed to the login page, logged in automatically. Okay, good. Very straightforward. Just wanted to make sure the consent is in there, right? Submits the form, email address. Very, very straightforward, very simple. Just want to make sure that's in there. Okay. So let me put this back aside. We're going to need some of the numbers there in just a second. So let's go to the export requirements. So this is very important. This is where half of the house meets the other side of the house. So we're going to select our project. We're going to pick the BVP. So again, it's 228. 228. All right, we're going to run the quality checks, which just make sure we're not fat fingering anything. All right, gather the requirements. So our application, our PMPA application, is going to do a breadth and depth dive in Jira to gather all the requirements up. So this takes a couple of seconds, depending on how many requirements you have. There it goes. More requirements, more scanning, more depth. All right, so it found our epics. So remember, we've got epics and user stories. Let's just double check here. I think it was it 10? Let's count them up to be sure. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, 7. 7 epics. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 7 epochs. So that looks about right. They're kind of in reverse numerical order, but user accounts, core ideas. Yeah, so that looks right. I trust it. Okay, let's generate the PRD. Okay, our PRD has been generated. It takes a few seconds. So here we go, product requirements document. We order everything by hierarchy, so it gets a little bit of a header information with some export information. So why do we structure it this way? So this becomes your contract if you're on the product side. So this exports, usually we'll have like the project manager can export this, or we recommend the project manager export this, or maybe your dev director to hand it off to the development team. You can choose what you want to export and when. So there's a lot of project management activity you could do around this. But again, generated on a certain date. So there's, oh, what did you get when? What were you supposed to be doing? There's some traceability here. All right. So we got the business value proposition up front. Now, again, why would you want that in this MD file? Well, you'd want this because you want to tell the engine that's going to be building your house, are you building a house or are you building something else? Because if you just say, again, I'll use the house building the house analogy. If you just say, I want this room with a toilet in it and a place to wash your hands and a mirror and a closet. What if it just builds you a porta-john? Because that has a toilet and a place to wash your hands and a mirror in it and a little cubby to put some extra toilet paper. It doesn't know that that's part of a house. What if it builds you a mobile home? Because a mobile home has a toilet in it, and a mobile home is not maybe the mansion that you wanted or the hotel that you wanted. So the AI engine needs the entire context, right? Now, maybe you don't want to hand it every single feature, so because you've already given it some features. So you get the idea, right? So everything's in here that we've selected, that you may have selected. Now, there's just even the spelling errors are in there that you want. Gives it the hierarchy level, so the AI engine knows what's what. So you get the idea, everything that's in there. So let's export that document. Shows up as a flat file. We export it as a text file. I don't know what format extension you really need, but it's a text file. So it's in a markdown format. So if you want to, change it to .md, or you want to change it to whatever end descriptor you want, you can do that. So I'm just validating that it's saved and not corrupted and runs all the way to the end. I'll do that on screen here. So it runs all the way to the end, and it has an end of document there. So one value, one BVP, 7 epic features, 50 user stories, a total of 58 documents. So that checksum is very nice. So that sounds great. So now let's go to our Vibe coding tool. So let me bring that up on the screen here. All right. So let us now say, I would like to build a new web application based on the requirements in the following text file. Okay, let me find that file and then drag it in. Let's make sure it loads. That looks good. Let's load it up and see what happens. So my experience, because I've done this before with some other projects that we've launched that we've worked on here, and it's going to read the file. It's going to take a minute or two, so I may have to do a little montage, but it's going to read through this file, and it's going to come back with some sort of surprised emotion. It's going to say, wow, this is a big project, or it's going to say, this is very extensive, and you've really thought about this thing. So while it's doing that, let's take one more look at that file. Let me find it here off screen. Oh, hold on. It's coming up with some questions. Let's answer the questions. There it is. See, so this PRD is Oh, it's trying to sell us something. That's fantastic. This PRD is extensive. What would you like to focus on first? A landing page and authorization, the core chat experience, an admin dashboard, full front end scaffold. So, let's just push it to the limits here. Let's just do everything. Boom. All right. For the AI expert integrations, do you already have the N8N workflows? Yep. N8N is ready to go. All right. Should we set up the Lovable cloud now for authorization, database, and backend? Yep. Do it. All right. Submit. Let's go. See, even the dogs are excited that this is happening so quickly. Okay, next one here. Complete backend and AI models out of the box. So it's trying to sell me some of their product, making sure that I know that I'm building it all in their environment. So okay, just hit next. I think that's where we're at now with the vibe coding environments. We're not even, do we care? We're just hitting next. Yes, yes, yes. So let's just hit yes. Let's just see what happens. So working with, I'll put in my 2 cents why this thing is building up, because what I experience with engineering teams at big organizations is that they're spending a lot of time trying to build out project plans, technical project plans. I don't mean delivery project plans, but actual technical project plans to do the software development. And where I find they're making some missteps maybe, or spending too much time, is they're not starting with detailed enough project requirements. They're stuck at that feature level, and they realize that they don't have enough requirements, and so they try and do refinement at the feature level instead of getting to that user story level. And they get into this iterative cycle of not wanting to get into the story level, and so they try to do feature refinement, and do their technical their technical planning at that level, and they get stuck there, and then the machine gets stuck in these cycles of delivering stuff to them that doesn't really meet the project needs. So what I find is that when you do the story level decomposition as classic software delivery story level decomposition, the planning, the planning you can do with the AI agents, which is what is happening right now behind the scenes in this tool, is gonna go so much faster. And I hope, fingers crossed, it's my first time I'm doing this live for you guys to see what it can do when you use the Project Management Process Accelerator. When you in fact, you could figure out how to do this yourself if you want to. If you don't want to pay for my tool, if you want to figure out and spend all the time to do this yourself, the concept is sound, right? You want to pay for my tool? Do you want to go and build your own? Do you want to find someone else who can build it for you? Go for it, right? The concept is sound, all right? This is going to make it go faster, right? And the industry, I think, has been struggling to figure out, how do we use this beautiful, powerful, AI based tooling to make us go faster? But we want to be a little lazy. We'd all love to be a little lazy and just, hey, can I tell it build me a house, and then somehow it figures out to build me the White House. Figures out how to build me a McMansion. Somehow it reads my mind. Well, we're not there yet. The microchips aren't there to read our mind. So you still got to do classic um, the software development, product development activities, and that is, you got to break it down to the user stories. You got to provide those user journeys. You got to provide end user personas. And if you use the AI to make those things, you're going to be much happier. The AI is going to be much happier. You're going to spend less money. You're going to get better return on investment. Your project management is going to be easier on the classical project management product delivery side. Your technical project management of delivering the code is going to be easier. So look, we're a few minutes of me blabbing here. Okay, we've got a splash page. Good. Let's see what's happening. So let's see what is built. Landing page, that sounds fantastic. Authorization page, user dashboard, roundtable chat, admin panel, a responsive nav bar. It's currently using mockup data for data sessions, database tables. So let's go take a look. All right. I'm not sure what, oh, there we go. Enable cloud. Oh, it's still saving some stuff. Oh, we haven't saved anything yet. Okay, storage. Okay. I guess we got to go to the app here and do something. Get started for free. All right. Let's put our name in here. I consent. Look at that. I consent to the processing of my data in accordance with GDPR principles. Remember that? All right, create the account. All right. So I've got to go off screen and I've got to confirm a link that it should have sent me. So let me go find that. Wow. It has sent me an email link to verify my email. All right, let's try logging in now that I've done that. Okay, your sessions. I've got an SAS analytics platform, an AI-powered recruiting platform. So I'm guessing this is some dummy data. Okay. Whoops. Somehow I logged out. Try that again. All right, so I don't know what happened to the one-time password, so that's not working right now. Pay to unlock, real-time collaboration, generate BRD. All right, so it needs some debugging, but here's the point. The point is it's probably done 80, 90% of the requirements, probably not perfectly, but the point is it's accelerated us. We went from a roughly worded business idea all the way down to user stories. We've got a dashboard. We can start a new session. I still have to plug in the back end here. We've got it 80, 90% there. I mean, I've already done the back end, so I just need to do some plumbing, fix up the navigation elements. Maybe I like this navigation, maybe I don't. I didn't give it any design concepts or visuals. So, wow. So if you're not impressed with what AI can do, I'm not sure what else to share with you. I'm not sure what else to tell you. You need to pick another business or go to a magic show. But this is real. This is real. So I hope this convinces you. I hope this shows you something maybe new or novel, or convinces you to use the PMPA.ai application, talk to your leadership, or if you're in a leadership role, contact me and ask me some questions. When I'm done with the Roundtable.ai app, then maybe you'll go on and spend $1 or $2 and try it out. You'll be able to try it out for free. And if you like the output, spend $1 or $2 to download your own personal BRD. So maybe by the time you watch this video, and you can go and use it. So it's a freemium-based model. You can interact with it. I'm not stealing any ideas. I got too many ideas of my own. You keep your ideas. You can put your ideas in here, chat with the AI experts, export your BRD. Listen, I'm building this because it's fun. I just need a couple of bucks from you. So, throw a couple of dollars in there into the kitty. Have a good time with it. Please have a good time with it. So with that, have a great day, and thanks for watching, and good luck.